How do you feel about revenge? Do you ever crave it? When my colleagues at Slate announced a big series of essays and reporting called Revenge Week, I thought, that's not really my thing. Revenge seems a little, unhelpful and unprocessed. But then I talked to my colleague Isabel Kahn about her revenge fantasy, which she started developing after she was seriously wronged by someone. She told me what pleasure it gave her and how it soothed her feelings of helplessness.
What was so exciting about it was hallucinating that I have power and I have control and that I could exact a plan with intelligence and cunning and forethought, and that I could be 10 steps ahead of somebody.
I talked to Isabel in a Slate Plus conversation this week about when she'd find herself adding details to this revenge fantasy, and also what she learned from science about how revenge shows up in our brain and how it's different than forgiveness. Isabel even prompted me to start free associating about my own revenge fantasies. Here's a little preview. Somehow I end up talking about watching someone getting buried alive while I stand by smoking a cigarette. Who knew that was in there? You can hear our conversation if you are a Slate Plus member. If you are already, thank you. If you aren't yet, just go over to the Death, Sex, and Money show page on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or you can sign up at slate.com/DSM Plus. And remember, when you sign up for Slate Plus, you not only get these special extra drops we make for Slate Plus members, you also get access to ad-free listening to Death, Sex, and Money and all of Slate's podcasts. Now, on to this episode. It's wedding season. And though I, in my mid-40s, am in a slower wedding pace than when I was attending my peers, my sisters, and my own weddings, it has been a wedding-y few weeks for me. Like, I recently went to a beautiful outdoor ceremony. It was a second wedding for both the bride and the groom that was just full of lovely reflections about finding the faith to try again. And then I whipped through the novel The Wedding People, which revolves around a plot of a suicidally depressed, recently divorced professor who shows up at a hotel that is otherwise totally reserved by a wedding party. She's horrified at first, and then bit by bit, she gets pulled into all the unspoken relationship dynamics between family generations and old friends that play out at a wedding. Now, in that book, the wedding is a lavish affair. Money is basically no object. Just a few years ago, back in 2023, we made an episode with many of your stories about wedding bells and wedding budgets. And you told us how and why you spent the money you did on your wedding celebrations. There's a link to that in our show notes to this episode. But I've also recently found myself thinking back on a conversation I had a little bit before that in 2022 about weddings and marriage rituals that just lean into kitsch and are more of an off-the-shelf affair in Las Vegas, sometimes with Elvis officiating. It's a sweet episode, quite poignant in moments, and I hope you enjoy listening again.
As an Elvis impersonator, I meet fans and they're like, he could do no wrong to them. But I zoomed in on the flaws, and I found that way more interesting than the just selling a million records. That's boring.
This is Death, Sex, and Money, the show from Slate about the things we think about a lot and need to talk about more. I'm Anna Sale. This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Make another smart choice with AutoQuote Explorer to compare rates from multiple car insurance companies all at once. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
The 7-seat Volvo EX90 is a car made for finding tranquility in midtown traffic with a serene Scandinavian interior. Made to help avoid potential hazards along city streets, thanks to advanced safety features. And with intuitive technology and Google built in, it's the car made for finding the best bagel in Brooklyn. The fully electric Volvo EX90 is perfect for New York. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more. Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
Brendan Paul is an Elvis impersonator who owns Graceland Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas. When I spoke with him over FaceTime, Brendan was home, off the clock, but the look was unmistakable. Jet black hair, moosed-up cowlick in front, sideburns down below his ears.
I wear a hat a lot. I'll just put a hat on if I want to try to just, go out and not have someone go, thank you very much.
People have gotten married at the chapel Brendan owns since 1939. It took on the name Graceland Chapel in 1977, after Elvis died. The king had stopped there once while he was shopping for wedding locations. The chapel claims to be the site of the world's first Elvis-themed wedding.
If someone right now were to walk in, they would call me and say, there's a couple who wants to know how soon you can get here. But that's the business. That's what it entails. So,
sometimes it's not a lot of planning.
Correct. Yes. Right.
Brendan has been performing as Elvis for decades, initially in tribute shows that toured or played at Vegas casinos. He bought the chapel in 2003.
When I walk in, there's everyone starts going crazy because it's kind of like, a guy in a Spider-Man costume coming into a kid's party. And that's why I come in usually plumped up. I'm like, all right, who's ready to get married? And they're like, oh, yeah. It's just such a joyous thing.
Mm-hmm. How, it might vary, but I'm curious, of the couples who come in, how many are marrying for the first time and how many are renewing their vows?
I'd say it's about 50-50. I hate to say it, but a lot of times people come in for a 50-year anniversary and the kids have organized it and the parents look like they haven't talked to each other in 30 years. We ask them to kiss, I think, twice. And the guy will say sometimes, we haven't kissed this much in 30 years. And I say, sir, we've asked you to kiss twice. But the kids are all crying. It is funny to some of these couples,
On a busy day, like the busiest day at your chapel, how many couples have had ceremonies?
I think even coming up on February 22nd, because it's 2/22/22, that date, that's the number. I think we're doing 75 weddings that day.
Holy moly.
Yeah, and we're adding more. We open at 8 a.m. We're going to back it up to 7 a.m. and then 6 a.m. depending as we get more people in because it's such a big day.
How long does each ceremony take?
15 minutes.
Well, it's a power recipe about a state of Nevada, somehow. I now pronounce you husband, wife, kiss your wife.
What's your favorite song to sing in a ceremony?
Probably, someone said to me one time, how can you sing Love Me Tender or Can't Help Falling in Love with You over and over? And that's my favorite one, probably Can't Help Falling in Love with You. I said, I don't ever get sick of it because I sang it 30 times that day, they haven't heard it 30 times. This is their first time. It's a beautiful song. And to see, they don't even know what it's called, Can't Help Falling in Love. They go, could you sing that song, Wise Men Say? They call it by the wrong. Yeah. They just know the first line, Wise Men. So that they go, are you going to do Wise Men Say? I go, yeah.
They call it Wise Men Say. That's so sweet.
They go, can you sing Wise Men Say? I always go, absolutely.
Will you sing me a little bit more of that from the beginning?
Oh, yeah. Let me grab my guitar. Let me see. Where's my guitar? I'll do a little bit on the guitar. Oh, yeah. My wife's got my guitar. Thanks, son. There we go. Wise men say only fools rush. I can't help falling in love with You.
Brendan married his wife, Carla, who handed him his guitar in 2019. And things seem pretty stable for Brendan now. He owns his home, and after a pandemic slump, business is booming again. But for a long time, Brendan could not imagine his future. He grew up in Los Angeles, and when he was a teenager, he saw the band Kiss perform in full makeup, and Brendan was inspired.
I had played in bands in LA, guitar in bands around the clubs in the 80s. When like Guns N' Roses were playing in the clubs, we'd play with them with the Troubadour and the Whiskey A Go-Go and on the Sunset Strip. And so, yeah, so that
what were your bands called?
It was a band called Fracture Mirror. We played with like the Red Hot Chili Peppers and Jane's Addiction when these bands were in the, they were all coming up kind of in the clubs, you know. So it was a very exciting time. So I had done that, and I kept going in and out of school. I'd drop out, but my parents just kept saying, please keep going, keep going. And after 11 years, I got a 4-year degree. My dad would go, this is pathetic. I said, Dad, I'm an art major. What did you expect? You know, I wasn't on a path of, once I get my degree, I could make a living. I was killing time because there was no future, the way I saw it, really, with limited skills, ADD. These are, I struggled in school to get C's. I mean, when I was in high school, my counselor said, you should go in the Army and you'll probably never even go to college. And they discouraged me. They made it like, that's not for you. And so in a way, when I graduated, it was like a kind of an FU to all those counselors. I wish I could have gone back and said, you know, you never count someone out because it just makes them feel that they can't do stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And then I never even cared if I used my degree. It meant nothing, which I never did use it. I became an Elvis impersonator. But
I think you're using it.
Yeah. That's what my mom goes, you're using it. My wife always says, you're using that.
That's so cool. Well, so you finished from UCLA after 11 years.
Oh, yeah. So I'm in my last year at UCLA, and I'm dyeing my hair black because from the rock band, it was real long. I had real long black hair. So when I told my hairdresser, my friend, I go, let's cut my hair. I don't want this long hair. So she cuts it short, and I have little sideburns, but you could never see them because I just had this messy black hair. And I was literally driving home in Hollywood from her salon, and at a red light, someone's like yelling, and I rolled down the window like, Elvis. And I'm like, what? I just go, okay. So I wave, and I called my hairdresser next day. I said, you know what? Maybe I'll come back and we got to do something because, you know, Elvis, I don't know, I have these little suburbs. And then the next day at UCLA, a girl came up and said, literally, are you a musician? I said, yeah. She goes, my roommate in my dorm is a huge Elvis fan. If I give you $100, can you come sing Happy Birthday? I said, absolutely. Where's your dorm? It just kind of things kept happening. And then my hairdresser, I remember, called, and she goes, when are you going to come in? We'll lighten your hair. And I said, you know what? Give me a couple of weeks with this because I made $600 this week.
And a career was born. Right. Amazing.
Really, the goal was just never to have to get a real job. I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
I just thought, like, if I could never have to sit down at a desk, like my dad worked for the government and hated it and would come home and complain. And I just looked at him. I just remember going, like, that's what you do in this world. I just was like, I want to put on makeup and join Kiss, you know?
Yeah.
I want to be in a band. I don't want that life. And so it was amazing because he always wore a tie. And so throughout the years when I had to go to like a wedding and someone, I had to get a tie, he would always help me do my tie. And then he told me just loosen it, hang it in your closet. You could put it over your head and tighten it up.
Yeah.
And then when my dad died, sorry.
That's okay.
I said at his funeral, you know, my dad always got a kick out of that. I never wanted to have to do a tie. And I said, the tie I'm wearing here, he did for me. And I just always, to this day, I don't know how to do a tie, you know?
Yeah. Oh, Brendan, I picture in your closet, like the way you would store those tied ties that your dad tied for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it's sweet. And it was like, he knew I did. He always said, he goes, you always did your own thing. You never, and, you know, when he saw my success, he got to see a lot of it. He couldn't believe it, you know.
Yeah. Well, also, it strikes me as, that was a choice for your father. He could have said, I don't care what you're going to do in life. You have to learn how to tie your own tie.
Yeah.
And instead he said, let me do this for you.
Right. I think he knew I wasn't going to be the guy that was going to be a businessman and work in a cubicle, and very limited in so many things, but I like to make people happy. And now I'm in a business where it's people's wedding day every day, and I'm partaking in that, and I'm lifting them up and celebrating that and saying, how awesome.
Mm-hmm. When did you lose your dad? How old were you?
2000, when I was 42, 2009.
Uh-huh.
So, but I bought the chapel in 2002. So when we would film things over the years, like a TV show was coming, they needed a couple to come in just for a clip, and I would use my mom and dad quite a bit, and they'd come in, and yeah, it was very sweet. They were married like 45 years, but they would come in and be the stock couple for photos and things, because if we didn't have a real couple, I'd say mom and dad, and they'd come down, and sometimes I'd act like I didn't know them. I just say, don't act like. So even though they lived in Las Vegas, they'd say, oh, we're from LA. They make up a backstory like where they were originally from, because it was embarrassing to go, actually, this is my mom and dad. I'm glad my dad got to see that, because cameras would be going around and he'd be, acting like he was just renewing his vows with his wife and he didn't know me. So it was, for him, he always got, he was so tickled by that, which is sweet.
Coming up, Brendan shares what he's learned from decades of thinking deeply about what it means to be famous.
You get so famous, you just get isolated. You have people around you just yes men, and it's dangerous. You know what I mean? You don't have family, you don't have real people that care. And a lot of times it will cost you not only happiness, but your life sometimes,
Taking control of your health and feeling confident in your body should not feel overwhelming, but it often does. That's where HERS comes in. HERS is transforming women's healthcare by providing access to affordable weight loss treatment plans. If that's something you're curious about, they can connect you with a medical provider who will work with you to determine the best treatment option for you. If you're prescribed, you get medications as part of a doctor-developed weight loss program, complete with ongoing care, check-ins, dosage and medication adjustments, and 24/7 online support at no additional cost. There are no hidden fees, no membership fees. Weight loss by HERS is realistic, not restrictive, and affordable. HERS provides access to both oral medication kits and GLP-1 injectable options. Start your free online visit today at forhers.com/DSM. That's FORHERS.com/DSM for your personalized weight loss treatment options. forhers.com/DSM. Weight loss by HERS is not available everywhere. Compounded products are not approved or reviewed for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for full details, important safety information, and restrictions. Actual price depends on product and plan purchased. With summer in full swing, do you ever feel the urge to refresh your closet, but you don't want to waste money on pieces you'll only wear for one season? For timeless, elevated classics that feel luxurious, check out Quince. For me, this summer, I am wearing Quince t-shirts, a black one and a white one that I've had for a bit, and I'm also wearing a linen button-down shirt that's white, that's new for me this season, and these black Bermuda shorts that work well dressed down with sneakers, or I can wear some heeled sandals and big gold earrings. All of these pieces are high quality and they hold up as I wear them again and again, even though they are priced significantly less than other items with similar fabrics and makes. Quince does this by working directly with top artisans and cutting out the middleman. Quince gives you luxury without the markup, like 100% European linen tops starting at $30, or washable silk dresses and skirts, or soft cotton sweaters, versatile warm weather pieces you'll reach for again and again. Give your summer closet an upgrade with Quince. Go to quince.com/DSM for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/DSM to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DSM. Everyone can use a little help to shape the direction of their lives, from fitness routines to mental resilience or navigating personal goals to tackling burnout. That's what the Life Kit podcast from NPR is here to do. If you are looking to move with more intention or just need thoughtful guidance on living better, Life Kit delivers strategies to help you make meaningful, sustainable change. Listen to Life Kit to hear thoughtful conversations that unpack the emotional and practical side of personal wellness, along with actionable guidance you can actually use. No fluff, no judgment. Issues like relationships, finances, parenting, and your career. You'll hear trusted voices and expert advice that can help you take the next step, however big or small. Life Kit is not just another podcast about self-improvement. It's about understanding how to live a little better starting now. Listen now to the Life Kit podcast from NPR. This is Death, Sex, and Money from Slate. I'm Anna Sale. Brendan Paul did not set out to become an Elvis impersonator, but his interest in celebrity culture started when he was young, when his family moved from Connecticut to Los Angeles when he was 8 years old.
I remember one of the first celebrities we ever saw was Sonny Bono driving down Santa Monica Boulevard. And we just freaked out, and to me, I remember thinking, I can't believe we're seeing people that we saw on this little black and white TV as a kid. It was just so neat to me. Anything like that, anything connected to something you see as a kid, and to see them in the flesh was just I found awesome. So, I don't know if you can see behind me. Can you see this yellow dress?
Oh, yeah.
That was Cher from Sonny and the Cher show.
I have to tell you, Brendan, someone shifting the angle of the camera to say, do you see this behind me? And then I see a yellow jumpsuit dress that Cher wore on Sonny and Cher. That has never happened to me before.
I collect memorabilia, celebrity memorabilia.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what's the I saw a red collared shirt next to Cher. What's that outfit?
Oh, that's Sammy Davis Jr.'s tuxedo.
How did you not pause and show me that? That's cool.
Yeah. I know, yeah.
Wow.
It's awesome. That was actually one of the first things I ever bought when I was going to college at UCLA. I went to he had died, and they there's another lesson in showbiz. When he died, he was in debt to the IRS, so they literally auctioned off everything he owned to pay the IRS. They didn't care that he died. He was the greatest entertainer of all time. They're like, where's our money? So they auctioned off everything. Cufflinks. It's crazy, you know?
So before you were living in Vegas and embodying Elvis's persona and wearing Elvis's clothes, you were collecting the clothes of other celebrity entertainers before that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Before I did Elvis, I was using him in a lot of my artwork to talk about excess and, his whole story is amazing. Just rags to riches, poor boy, all that money, still no taste. All these great things about him were just almost more fascinating to me than the music for him, just as a human, an entertainer.
It's funny how that just rolled off your tongue about Elvis when you said all that money, still no taste. I guess I assumed you would speak to him with a sort of so much reverence that you wouldn't point out things that you thought were, that Elvis didn't have taste.
Right. No, I that's what attracted me to him. All the the flaws and the other stuff was way more interesting. I mean, anyone could be a good looking guy that gets every girl and sells 1 million records and lives happily ever after. But other stuff is more interesting to me about him, I mean, so here's a religious man that was addicted to pills but couldn't reach out for help, and I was more attracted to that. Someone said, if you could meet Elvis in 1956 or the day before he died, who would you rather meet? I said, the guy the day before he died would be much more interesting to meet than a kid that's 21 that's just blowing up and having success. That's not that interesting to me,
What would you want to talk to him about the day before he died?
I would just ask him, like, what is it like just to have this career and still be lonely? I mean, because I've read these things from his bodyguards. I met some of his bodyguards where they said he would make comments like at the end of his life, like, they always said it was lonely at the top. I just didn't know it was this lonely. I mean, that's heartbreaking to me. That's like, that's what that guy was feeling, that loneliness, that despair, that unsatisfied inside. That's horrible, because a lot of people go, I bet you wish you were Elvis. And I always go, not really.
Well, Brendan, it's interesting to me that you think about this and you think about what it must have been like to be Elvis and live inside his body and as an Elvis impersonator. And you dress up as Elvis and you're meeting people in what is presumably sort of like the lightest, most joyful moment of their lives.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like that, I mean, what do you think that is? Why do you think people want to come to you dressed as Elvis when they are ready to commit themselves to one another in marriage?
I think they want to have, like, it depends. 26 years ago, it was more a lot of Elvis fans. They go, I love Elvis. My wife loves Elvis. And when I walk into the aisle, sometimes they'll cry. They go, ever since I was a little girl, I dreamt of marrying Elvis. So this is the closest thing. And when I sing and I'm walking back to get him on my arm, I see them looking at me, but I also see them in a way looking like through me. They're not really looking at me. They're seeing what they want to see, which was they're now 12 years old and here comes Elvis to get them. What I'm doing is reminding you of someone that was great. It's not me, but it's what I represent, what you're buying into here, like an illusion, if you will. But what you get now, I've noticed, because a lot of people now getting married weren't even alive when Elvis was alive. They're 25 years old. He's been dead for 40 years. So to them, Elvis was something else. They didn't grow up hearing his newest records or seeing his movies. We have these cute vows where she promises never to step on his blue suede shoes and never return him to sender. And she goes, sometimes a young girl will go, return him to sender? And I said, that was a big hit for me, honey. I try to make a joke, but I realized, first of all, they don't even know the song Return to Sender, but I'm not sure if they know that Return to Sender is something that was stamped on an envelope, because they've only sent emails and, and so to them, they're like, what does Return to Sender even mean? And I'm like, wow, this is like gone beyond. I've done this so long that my references need to come with a little notes to help the youth.
Return to sender, address unknown, no such number, no such song.
This podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states and situations.
At Starbucks, we've more than doubled parental leave for full and part-time baristas, giving them up to 18 weeks of paid time off, so they can be there for early bedtimes, late nights, first laughs, and spend more time with the best company they know. At Starbucks, benefits like parental leave are just the start. Learn more about Starbucks industry-leading benefits at starbucks.com/partners.
Brendan bought the chapel with his first wife, Dee Dee. They split up after about 2 decades of marriage, but they still co-own the chapel. And sometimes they work wedding ceremonies together. He sings and she officiates.
I marry people a lot where I do the whole ceremony and I'm ordained. But some people go, we had to compromise. The wife didn't want Elvis at all, so they compromise. They have a minister do it, and then Elvis just walks down the aisle, sings and performs.
I see.
And so it's like a mix. And so we'll be in there sometimes together. We have 2 wonderful boys in college, and like, there's no time for bitterness and anger. You just have to like move forward and be happy, you know?
Yeah. When your job is to show up and marry people, and it's something you do day in and day out, and when you were starting to notice that your own marriage wasn't how you wanted it to be, was it hard to go to work?
Yeah, but I've always been able to somehow. It's like a showbiz thing in my mind. Like the show must go on. You have to go in there. Like, I don't remember this. Someone said when your dad died, they go, I remember you'd sit out in the parking lot crying, and then you come in and do a couple of weddings, and you go back and sit in your car, and I'd see you crying. I don't remember that, but if I did, what I knew was when I came in, those people didn't need to know that my dad just died. This is their wedding day. So you wipe the tears and you act like this is the greatest thing of your life. And then you go back and deal with your own stuff on your own time. They don't need to know if I'm sick, if I'm tired, what's going on. That's not what they've paid for and what they've come for and what they expect. In a way, it's like Mickey Mouse at Disneyland. You're putting on this thing and becoming something else to people. And so you get in that mindset for as long as you do it.
Yeah.
So I think with me, I lift up the couple, and that's what it's about then, and I deal with my own failure in my marriage on my own, you know.
I imagine you see people who are very young who have fallen in love. You see people who are who've been together years and years. Have you had couples who've come where you can tell that one of them is close to the end of life?
Oh, absolutely. We've had people, you know, a couple came in and the guy pulled me aside, and it was a huge, 35, 40 people crammed in the chapel. And he goes, Elvis, just so you know, real quick, he's like, I'm dying. And he's like, so this is kind of like a last big trip for the family. He goes, so we just want to make this fun. I said, well, you've definitely come to the right place. And I do the same jokes. I do the same. They deserve that. But again, what a great thing. Yeah. Not like, let's all go to Disneyland. He's like, let's go to Las Vegas and renew our vows. Like at the end of their life, they want to say, I love you. So that stuff is so touching. And on stuff like that, sometimes I'll just tell the couple, you know what, I'm just going to comp your whole wedding. When I see stuff like that, we don't need the money. I know the coordinators get mad because there goes their commission, but I'm like, oh, well. I'm like, these people are just, sometimes you could just tell. It's like, life is going to be hard. We don't need their $350 that bad.
Why did you decide to buy the chapel? What prompted that?
My mind would go back to, of all things, like the Sammy Davis Jr. auction when he died, because I remember thinking, like, being an entertainer, you could make good money, but if you don't save it or have a passive income or something, you think like an athlete, you think it's going to go on forever. You have this mentality. This is great. But when it ends, you're used to living a certain lifestyle. And a lot of these guys don't downsize. They don't know they see themselves as a big star still. These guys don't live in reality, I think, sometimes. And I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be 45 and like too old to do Elvis and then have to go try to get a job. And I remember literally going to a guy's house. I moved here when I was like 28. And so he was an older Elvis, but I mean, he was probably my age now. He's probably in his 50s, but to me, he just seemed like an old Elvis guy because, he had, I could see white roots in his chest hair. And I walked out with my friend and I said, I think Pete was his name. I think Pete dyes his chest hair black. And my friend goes, well, yes, chest hair is probably white. And I said, the day I'm dyeing my chest hair black, please shoot me. No. And now, starting about a year or two ago, I started dyeing my fucking chest. I became that guy. Oh my God. It's, because at the time I'm like, I don't want to be that old Elvis guy. And then but then you start making a good living and you go, how long can I continue to do this? Bring out the Miss Clairol. It's time to get to work.
That's Brendan Paul as himself. You can catch him as Elvis at the Graceland Wedding Chapel in Las Vegas. When we first made this episode, it was part of a collaboration we did with Condé Nast Traveler. You can check out their love and travel series that it was a part of in our show notes. It includes a piece they wrote about Brendan. This episode was originally produced by Caitlin Pierce and Katie Bishop in 2022. The current Death, Sex, and Money show team includes Andrew Dunn, Zoe Azulay, and Cameron Drews. Daisy Rosario is our senior supervising producer. Mia Lobel is the head of Slate Podcast, and Hillary Fry is Slate's editor-in-chief. You can support the production of our show by joining our membership program, Slate Plus. We hope you'll do that. You get bonus episodes of our show and other Slate shows like Decoder Ring and How To, and you can listen to Slate's full podcast catalog ad-free. Subscribe directly from the Death, Sex, and Money show page on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, or just go to slate.com/DSM Plus to sign up and get access wherever you listen. Our theme music is by the Reverend John DeLure and Steve Lewis. If you're new to our show, welcome. We're glad you're here. Find us and follow us on Instagram at Death, Sex, Money. I write a weekly newsletter. You can sign up to get that at annasale.substack.com. And you can reach the show anytime with voice memos, pep talks, questions, or critiques at our email address, deathsexmoney@slate.com. We love hearing from you. Brendan does not do every wedding at the chapel. He has a few other Elvises on staff. But he says it takes a certain type of performer to enjoy singing for such an intimate crowd.
I've hired people that have done stage shows and they go, this is weird. I'm used to being on stage and I can't see the audience. And yet I'm singing in front of two people and I'm really uncomfortable. So I go, yeah, it's a different dynamic. But for me, it's like, I don't know, somehow it's like the perfect fit. I performed at the NBA All-Star game in front of 50,000 people. But if I could do that again or sing 2 feet away from two people in love, I'll opt for the two people in love.
I'm Anna Sale, and this is Death, Sex, and Money from Slate.
This episode is brought to you by FX's Alien Earth, the official podcast. Each week, host Adam Rogers is joined by guests, including the show's creator, cast, and crew, in this exclusive companion podcast. They will explore story elements, deep dive into character motivations, and offer an episode-by-episode behind-the-scenes breakdown of each terrifying chapter in this new series. Search FX's Alien Earth wherever you listen to podcasts.
Want to live better?
We've got a lot of work to do.
Join Chris Hemsworth in National Geographic's new Disney Plus original series, Limitless. Live better now.
I'm diving headfirst into cutting-edge science to uncover 3 powerful secrets to living better right now. The growth that occurs through any challenging experience is really what we seek.
Chris Hemsworth stars in Limitless. Live better now. Now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
It's showtime.